The Senecans surround us, like wolves gathered around a trio of helpless sheep. At least 24 weapons are aimed at us, their bayonets so close that I'm worried one will accidentally take out my eye. The men that hold them look haggard and hungry. They haven't seen a meal in days. Oly goes to raise his arms in surrender, but Levi is quick to swat them down. "Hail, Seneca," he says, with a passable Senecan salute. He's rushing to sell our story. Every second counts. "We have a message direct from General Gates, requesting aid in the battle for Summerset. Who commands here?" The Senecan army still hasn't let us set foot inside the city. They're content to hold us on the threshold. Despite this restriction, I can see past the assembled forces and into the city. What catches my eye takes my breath away. Hundreds of inhabitants who never had the chance to evacuate before their city was besieged stand outside of their homes and buildings with faces that belie their desperation. Children cling to their parents' clothes with fear in their eyes. The elderly peer out at us from cracked doors, eyeing us with suspicion. For the most part, the interior of the city has been left intact, a stark contrast from the homes outside its walls. But the human cost is evident in the hungry, slack faces of the Somersetters. A hand taps one of the soldiers holding us at gunpoint, and he moves aside for a group of officers who have come to see us. Directly in the middle of this new retinue is the man that looks to be in charge, judging by the medals dangling from his chest. He looks us all over, trying to take our measure. He is the antithesis of the chaos that surrounds him, with a uniform that's immaculate and a martial bearing that is stoic and businesslike. He wears a silver pin on his left breast that looks like a flaming treetop. The name stitched above it reads Sudbury, and the bars beside it tell all he is a colonel. "Sir General Gates engages the Calicans to the east. He orders Summerset to ride out and engage the enemy's unguarded rear." He ignores Levi's call to arms. "Just because there is a battle does not mean we abandon rank or protocol," he says. "Who the hell are you, soldier?" "Sir." Levi snaps to attention and offers another salute, this one sloppier than the first. The colonel notices, but Levi continues onward. "Lance Corporal Leviticus Teague, sir. 8th Division Grenadier. We come with orders from General Gates. All remaining Summerset riders are to sally forth and join the fray. The general has arrived with 3 battalions. With your help, we can save this city, sir." The colonel considers Levi's words before responding coolly. "I wasn't aware that the 8th Division was under General Gates' command. How is it you managed to break through the Calican lines, Lance Corporal Teague?" "Sir, we disguised ourselves as Calican conscripts and managed to slip through their camp once the main force engaged the enemy at the eastern trench. We've lost 5 good men doing so. Time is of the essence, sir." Something shifts in the soldiers surrounding us. They don't lower their weapons, but I watch color return to their white knuckles as they loosen their grips. "Do you have any proof of these claims? I won't risk my men on the word of a Lance Corporal." I can tell the request irks Levi, but before he has a chance to respond, one of the men in the officer's retinue speaks up. "Shall I tell the men to ready the horses, Colonel?" This elicits an angry look from the colonel. "For season's sake, I gave no such order, Major. Stand down. What strikes me as odd about this story is that I requested aid from General Mackenzie, not Gates. Last I heard, the hero of Seneca was in Falkir, fighting the Calicans there." Sounds from the battle at the trenches almost a league away continued to punctuate the air, adding more tension to the moment. Our window is shrinking, and Levi is approaching the colonel the wrong way. Culturally, we Senecans are a cautious lot. We prefer to do things by the book, and only when absolutely sure it is the right call. With no proof of our claims, the colonel is right to be wary. Levi is about to press on when I lightly touch his arm to indicate he should let me take over. "Sir, Private Nolan Coulter, 8th Division Lancer. I have ridden with this man and General Gates since leaving my home in Mustang Prairie. What he says is true." The colonel's eyes dart to my face and then slowly down to my boots. The gaze lingers. He doesn't respond, so I continue on. I was away when Mustang Prairie fell, but I met up with the 8th and enlisted so that I might have revenge on the bastards who enslaved my whole family. I gesture to Levi and then Oly. What reason would we have to mislead you? We need your aid immediately. This is our chance to turn the tide of not only this battle, but possibly the war as well. I can tell my words have little effect on the colonel, who still stares at my boots, but the soldiers hang on each sentence. I double down, trying to stoke the flame that burns within my countrymen's hearts. Do you want to watch your women and children become conscripts? I ask, speaking entirely from my own experience. That's what's at stake here. If Summerset falls, the Calicans will open a path toward the capital. If we do not break them here and now, Seneca itself will fall. I pour every ounce of passion I have into the words. I'm not necessarily lying about the details of my past and the number of Senecan troops, perhaps, but not about the urgency of the situation. Before I can continue, the colonel sticks his index and middle fingers into my chest like a sword, holding them there. Take the private and his friends to holding. We're not taking any unnecessary chances, especially with men who aren't uniformed properly. He swivels to a gray-bearded man standing to his left, bringing the 2 fingers with him. Major, deploy your men on the walls. Any word on those damaged guns? Are we able to repair them, at least temporarily? A golden ring on his middle finger, crowned within a sparkling silver eagle, catches my eye in the moonlight. The eagle holds in its talons a tree branch. I've seen it before. It's given to all the graduates of 4 Points Academy in Wintlock, which also happens to be the only place in Seneca that one can learn hand words, the signing language created for battle but adapted for use by the deaf and the mute. My wife noticed the warning signs that Emily was deaf around her first birthday. All of the other children her age had begun to communicate their first vestiges of simple words while she had not. We lied to ourselves, of course, making excuses for her falling behind, failing to accept that there could be something wrong with our perfect, otherwise happy child. By her second birthday, we'd had no way of communicating with her, nor she with us. She was locked in a prison of frustration, often throwing silent fits as a way to express her rage. It wasn't until a customer came in for a fitting and saw Emily, then 4 years old, during one of her fits, and told me about the language of hand words. Apparently, the military had come up with it so troops could silently communicate while engaged in combat and avoid giving away plans or positions to nearby enemies. The very next day, I hired a carriage to take Emily, Sarah, and myself to Wintlock so I could petition aid from the academy. In exchange for my cobbler services on site and some service work for Sarah in the officers' mess, the academy accepted us all for a 1-year program. It was difficult at first, but slowly the 3 of us began to learn how to communicate with each other. I'll never forget our tutor, a major by the name of Alcott. He wore his uniform with pride and was constantly rubbing the brass and silver ring on his finger. One day when Sarah had asked him about the ring's importance, he explained that one like it was given to every graduate of the officers' program at the academy, a most rigorous training program that required mastery over not only battle tactics, regulations, and strategy, but also the secret Senecan language of hand words. Bringing myself out of the memory and back to the present, I focus on the colonel and decide to take a risk. "Colonel," I call out. His back is to me and he's still barking out orders to his weary men. He turns around, upset with my tone and audacity. Only when his scorching gaze cooks me do I begin signing. "Sir, my 8-year-old daughter is deaf. She was taken as a conscript months ago. She was a student of hand words as taught by the esteemed Major Alcott at 4 Points. The soldiers surrounding me stare as if I've gone mad, but the colonel will understand, as will the other officers. I see recognition light up his face. The cannons in the distance remind me that the opportunity is closing. I need to hurry. The colonel, for his part, stares at my hands and then at my face and then back to my hands. He's contemplating whether he should engage with me in conversation. He brings his hands up to sign. "Speak, soldier," he signs, twisting his hands around effortlessly. I reply in kind. This is no trick. I slap my wrist and hook my thumb downward. The 8th reinforces, but not enough to break through enemy entrenchment. But if the enemy is pincered, we can win. He stays focused on my hands, turning the message over in his mind and looking for any sign of disingenuous motivations. I would not lie to a man of the academy, I add. A long moment passes before he decides to respond verbally, so all can hear. If you indeed went to the academy, then which bakery makes the best bread in Wintlock? It's a trick question, and one I wouldn't know the answer to if I hadn't stayed at the academy for all those months. McCormick's, I say. It was the bakery preferred even over the ovens of the academy. But I preferred Dean's by the Fisherman's Wharf. Levi raises an eye at this, unsure of my tactic. Trust goes both ways. The colonel's face is impassive and inscrutable. He looks like he's about to continue the interrogation when a voice coming from the gray-bearded major cuts through the din of the nearby battle. Sir, what would you like me to do with them? Major, belay the last order. Ready the horses. He turns to the assembled Summersetters, peering at this scene from their doorways. All volunteers and enlisted men prepare to ride out and face the enemy. General Gates comes to free Summerset, and we will ride out and meet him. A great cheer goes through the crowd, starting with the soldiers and then quickly spreading among the civilians. Not one to let an opportunity pass, Levi hops on top of a nearby crate and unfurls the scarlet and blue flag we found in no man's land. With a cry that seems to reverberate in my chest, he shouts into the night, "Hail Seneca!" The crowd responds in kind, and I hazard a glance at Oly, whose eyes are wide with excitement. To my surprise, even the colonel is cheering. But as the voices of Summerset unite together in a patriotic and joyous shout, I cannot shake the feeling that my lies might just have gotten this entire town killed.